is Sanjan Narai. I'm the founder of College Academy. We're a tutoring service for college students. The main problem that I started this company for is students aren't understanding the concept in the class, and they're kind of going on resources online to just look up their homework problems, copy it down, and turn it in. And that's a huge issue, as you can see in the chart. And it's really rare to have students not doing their own homework. It's mostly either friends, online resources, copying it from old papers from any resource they can find, and that it's a huge issue. So I kind of want to help. So my solution is to help students by providing them constant videos for each of their classes with examples ranging from easy to hard examples for them to practice, so that way they can kind of see it about, as well as adding a one-question quiz for each concept for them to practice to see if they understood or not. So, and if they get it right on their first or second attempt, they'll be rewarded with points. And once they accumulate enough points, there'll be some sort of reward attached to that. And that way, this will help them be better prepared for their homework and be able to do their homework on their own, as well as then be better prepared for the exam. And the benefits is that reward-based system with those points on those quizzes. It's a kind of a thing I took from Pocket Points. Instead of being off your phone in class, rewarding them kind of for learning, and then potentially making partnerships with local restaurants and promoting local businesses, along with rewarding students for actually trying to learn the material. And then potentially at some point having an ability to connect students with one-on-one tutors if they still need help at a low cost, but as well as somehow benefit the tutors as well. Maybe a long-term agreement with the tutors, but making it low cost per session for the student. And then the market and competition is is all college students in the U.S. And then I'm going to start here in the engineering college and the computer science department, as that's where most students are struggling the most, as we have the toughest classes. And then two of my competitors are Chegg and Coursera. They basically, Chegg allows students to look up their homework problem or put in their homework problem online, and the tutors will answer it, and then the students can just take that answer, copy it down, and turn it in, not really learning. As well, and Coursera, old students upload their homework assignments that they did really well on and get paid for uploading those, as well as uploading old papers they did well on. And then new students can pay monthly fee, and they can download those old exams or old homeworks and old papers, and then kind of use that feature and kind of implement it into their papers and kind of plagiarize on those papers, and not really. And it makes it easier to catch with the turn-in technology that the universities are using. And then Khan Academy would be a potential partner, as they do have some videos for college students, but not really too much and not too in-depth, and also not easily navigatable. But potentially a partner where students use Khan Academy during K through 12 as that's where their focus is, and then shift them over to College Academy for the college classes. And then my business model is potentially start a monthly fee of $10 a month, which is less than Chegg and Coursera, which are about $15 to $20 a month, as well as after I include most courses at the university, make a deal with the university where the university tries to pay a small licensing fee, and then students get free access. And the next steps are I'm currently looking to raise capital for more courses, as I want to get more courses out, and I'm only one person right now. And then I hope to release 2 courses by the end of this February, as well as I have friends at other universities, at University of Michigan, Case Western, and University of Illinois, who are willing to, once I have those 2 courses released, help promote it to those classes at those universities, so those students can also reap the benefit who are in those classes. And then that's my contact information.
My first question, man, is, first of all, it's a huge space to go into, so I'm explain the classes like this, but why don't you tell us your story first? All of us, your story of how you came up with the idea for College Academy, and why specifically those 2 courses I'm interested in. Why those 2 courses? Are they big courses, special courses for engineering students? Just kind of give us a backstory.
Oh, yeah, so why I came into this company was my freshman, like my first semester and kind of into my second semester, I started seeing that students were relying on Chegg and Coursera a lot, and that's kind of how people were doing their homework and not really understanding the material. And then when I was doing residency for 1 full year, so I could get in-state tuition to reduce my cost. And that's when I was seeing in the couple of classes I was in, I was doing fine in those classes. For me, it was just 1 or 2, but students were in like multiple classes, those classes they were struggling in, they weren't able to do well on their homework, and they were just relying on Chegg and Coursera to kind of get them through the homework, and then they would like try and cram for the exam and still not do well on the exam because they didn't really learn the material in the first place. And so the two courses I'm starting with are the two I feel are the ones that students really struggle with the most in engineering is circuits, since the professors are teaching more at the graduate student level, not at undergraduate student level. So the TAs are being heavily relied upon in circuits. So, and mainly the students just go to the office hours and tutoring hours to basically get their homework done, and then you just try and review the homework for the exams, which really isn't the best way to review. As well as the other class is the intro to programming class that all engineers have to take. All the engineers who love programming, they don't have an issue, but most of the students who are taking that class are mostly mechanical or environmental engineering, and those students really don't want to be into programming, and those are the students that are really struggling in the class. And I've heard from a professor we're communicating with, he said that would be a good start because that could help the students in those classes understand why this coding is done this way.
First off, I really like your idea, and I like the reward system part of it. I feel like that really is a good incentive for students. I guess I kind of have two questions. First one is, how are you going to find the teachers, and how, as a student, do I know that these people are reliable? Like, what are the credentials to become one of the instructors? Second question, I don't remember at the moment, so we'll just do the first one.
So the way I'm going to answer that first question is when I look for people to hire, I'm going to look for that they got either A's, or sometimes I do know that there are certain B students who are really good at teaching and understanding material, but they only got that B because they don't do well on exams, but they know what they're doing. And I look for those students, as well as the second part of the hiring option. I would have them make a sample video for me for one of the concepts and see how well it is, as well as I have an uncle who would be willing to also review that material and tell me if that's good enough or it should be a little bit better, and kind of help me with that second interview with him.
Great. I remember my second question now.
Yeah.
What kind of platform is this going to be built on? Is it just a website, or are you going to do an app, or both of them?
Yeah, I'm going to start with the website and then slowly also implement it into an app.
Because I think an app would be really great, because if I'm like waiting for my class to start, I could do the little quizzes and stuff, but I think the website is also needed.
So as far as how you're going to identify the instructors, have you thought about working with the app, which is very important, having a profile for all the tutors so they can select which tutors they want?
So if I'm hiring a tutor for circuits, it'll most likely be one tutor, but then I'll have like maybe if there's a couple of students who don't want to make the videos per se, but they want to review the material, I'll have the list. So when the student who's signing up for that circuits class, they can review, they can see, okay, this instructor is teaching it, but there are three other people who have reviewed the material, one hopefully being a professor, as well as two being two other students, and then they have reviewed it, okay, so this has been doubly checked before it's been done.
And follow-up has nothing to do with that. With the two main competitors, whatever they were, if that's where everyone's getting their information for their homework and such, if there's a class of 30 people and 9% of them are getting their information from these two sites, isn't it kind of obvious that there's plagiarism going on? And is there some way that you can, or how is that allowed? And then is there some way that you can help promote taking the right way as opposed to that?
Yeah, so the circuits class and the intro to programming class that I'm focusing on, the professors have said once I have those materials ready to be released, they will promote it to the students saying, please look at these videos if you're still confused, these are great videos. I know the person who made them, and kind of promote it that way so the students know that they're reliable because the professor one is recommending it and it's understandable to students, as well as to kind of move them away. I'll have the professor kind of keep me up to date every month or every 2 months, telling me, is there a way, can I see like maybe one or two people and see if their code looks too similar or their homeworks are kind of way too similar, either with the professor checking it or a TA checking it, to see if they're actually slowly moving away.
So those two courses, I assume those are University of Iowa specific courses, or do they have more overlap to similar courses at other universities?
They're University of Iowa courses to begin with, but mostly they do overlap because circuits typically tends to stay the same from university to university, except maybe one or two concepts might be missing, or one or two concepts will be additional. So I would make them to University of Iowa spec, but other universities can obviously use them as well.
You might want to think also about talking to textbook publishers. Kind of going to that point is that, and textbooks are getting more and more, provide a tremendous amount of supplemental material. Whether professors actually allow their students to have access to all that supplemental material is somewhat, some do and some don't. But from a scalability standpoint, if you find the classes and the textbooks that are primarily used in these classes, you might want to be think about focusing development in those areas, because then you can scale faster across more universities. My question to you is, how do you change the incentive for the students? If the student is going to Chegg and the other place, and they're just wanting to get it done and not worrying about learning it, how do you change their incentive from not just getting free answers and being done with it versus actually taking the additional time to learn it? Because that's what you're proposing. I think what most of us would agree is the right way to do it, actually learning the content versus just copying answers. You should check the box for homework. So do you think the points is enough, or what have you learned through customer discovery so far?
Yeah, so actually, this is something I talked with our new associate dean in College of Engineering. She found out about Chegg in late March last year, and she's trying to slowly kind of find ways to make sure students aren't doing that. So I could, when the professors could say, once I had those two courses done, saying, this is a great resource to use, just letting you know, we are slowly, the college is slowly implementing checks to see if you have been using Chegg or Coursera or even other resources to getting your answers and copying it down. We'll be reviewing it a lot more in depth. So if you don't want to get caught for those kind of things, then that kind of penalizes them. But maybe I could add another incentive somewhere else.
Just a thought off of that. I know there's like supplemental instructions and office hours sort of thing. Maybe you can market it as something like that instead of a Chegg, like a free thing. Because I mean, students know that that's like they're just going to copy and they're not going to get anything out of it. But this way, it's more personalized, as opposed to like maybe they don't want to go to their office hours, or they don't like their TA or whatever it may be. So maybe taking that route might have a better appeal too.
Yeah, this was trying to be like a supplement to SI, because SI has certain limits. Well, this one would be 24/7, so they have any time
Right,
to access.
exactly.
Have you thought of offering, like, I guess, looking at this, if I was a student, I would say, hey, is this good or not? I think some sort of trial period, whether it's like, hey, maybe that's one of your marketing ways is like, hey, your first course is on us, and then you pay for additional courses, or some way that people can actually like try it out to see like, hey, is this worth it? So at this point, do you have like a trial?
Yeah,
built
I'll
into
probably
it?
do either like a 7-day or 30-day trial. I need to set specifically, as I've seen places now doing 7 or 30-day. And then in the 7-day trial, I'll say the point system won't officially work until after the trial, but kind of show them, like if they take those courses, what the point system is.
Do you see any differentiation between students who might just want to go to someplace like Chegg to get the assignment done without learning anything, and those who somebody wants to learn how to do it? Or do you see any way of differentiating between them?
Yeah, I've actually a couple of friends who have used Chegg in the past, and when I told them I'm going to be starting a company that's going to help them understand the concept, when I was doing customer discovery even, I was seeing that at least 75 to 80% of the people I talked to, they all said they're only using Chegg because the resources currently aren't really there to help, or basically most people are misusing them as in just getting help for homework.
Yeah.
So they don't have the time to ask for, can you explain this concept to me? Because usually office hours are packed, but you're just trying to get those homework done and everything.
All right, thank you.
So So a follow-up question, if a student wanted to use Chegg or the other competitor to actually learn the concepts, are they failing at that, or is it just people are just trying to scam the system? I'm just trying to assess the, are they actually a direct competitor?
Like Chegg and Coursera, you really can't learn too much because they provide the answer right away, so it's kind of hard. Like some people can try finding a way to learn, but it's really hard to learn because when you see the answer and you see how they do it, when you write it down, you kind of get it in your head how to do that set problem, but you don't understand that that one problem is only that one problem. It's not generalized.
They aren't really trying to teach you, they're just trying to give you the answer.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to quality of the instructors too, it might be good to consider some kind of rating system, like after someone takes a course, rating how well that they did and whatnot. I know as a student, I always use the Rate My Professor website before taking a class, so I think going into those type of things, knowing oh, this person gets great reviews for their instruction or whatever, would be kind of helpful for the users.
What's your dream or ideal situation for your company?
My ideal situation is to hopefully get students to start kind of understanding the material through my company, and that way they can do better on their homework, and hopefully exams would go a lot better, and the amount of that plagiarism, which is about 64% in colleges across the country, to hopefully go down, if you can, down to hopefully 0, which is the ideal goal, to bring that number down to 0. Or at least bring it down 5% at a time, hopefully, to bring it hopefully down as close to 0 as possible.
Why do you care so much about that? Did you have something happen in your life where you were plagiarized, or was it friends you had that?
I've seen it in high school. Even I did a lot of homework on my own and did really well. And then my friend, he did this. I kind of helped him out, but his homework kind of looked similar to mine.
Yeah.
And he turned it in before I did because I wanted to fine tune some stuff. And my teacher accused me. I was like, I did not do it. And if she's when she gave us another problem to both of us, she saw that I was being true to what I said, while he basically did not know how to do it.
Yeah. So here's some advice. With your presentation, maybe you could tell that story, because then it, because I'm sure everybody understands about plagiarism and stuff like that. But if you can tell that story, you can pull them into the business a little bit more, right? By opening up with a story like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you got our attention, and then with that attention, you can do with what you wish, right? So maybe finding a way to incorporate that into your presentation would help.
You mentioned Khan Academy being a potential partnership. First of all, if you could kind of expand it a little bit more, but also I know that the university has a licensing deal with Lynda, so students have access to all those videos as well. Why are you not considering them a competitor? And I don't know if they have circuits and introduction on it or not, but that's the second part of the question. Why are you not considering them a competitor, and what is the potential for partnership with Khan Academy?
Yeah, so Lynda is not really a competitor because what they do, they kind of just get you trained on Word, Excel, training on programming, R programming and stuff. Not really on courses that learn in class, but more for training and certifications on the programming and just technologies aspect. And then Khan Academy partnership potentially, because since they're focusing towards K through 12 and they're kind of trying to get the word out across the country to get more students to look at their videos for help and everything. That way they don't go into the mode of cheating at that age. And then, so that way more of those are getting drilled in, it'd be a perfect shift into using Khan Academy in college instead of Chegg and Coursera.
So what's the differentiation between the university professor and your education program? Are you merging those two together? Are you it seems to me that I would want to learn the concepts from the professor versus.
Yeah, so we're not a supplement to the professor, but I do know that a lot of students still don't understand when the professor speaks sometimes, because the professor speaks a little bit higher level than where the students are at. And so we're a supplement, so we would say don't skip class or at least attend class, but say you still don't understand the concept, then watch it on us. and one of the tutors would be like our students who've taken the class, so they've experienced that kind of experience with the professor. So they didn't know, okay, maybe we try this approach because this approach might be a lot easier for them to understand than the way the professor was saying it.
Are you teaching it differently as far as using more videos or slides? They're different as far as teaching
Yeah, it'd be
concepts?
more video based, so kind of like walking them through an example to it. So like first telling them what the concept is, if it's an equation, and then walking them through with examples. So they kind of see. Because I do know that sometimes the professors will do the examples before class, so then they'll just be pointing, and that really doesn't help the student. Because I've had this issue myself in a couple of classes. So I had to try and find online videos, and it was really hard to find the most helpful.
Okay.
What is your, you're the founder, what does your team look like right now?
Right now, I actually don't have a team. I'm currently looking to build a team, but right now I have the counsel of my uncle who has built his company, and his company helps corporate firms with training their employees. So he's been in e-learning for 20 years now, so I've been using him as a resource.
Yeah, just to follow up on something you said, I couldn't get, once you showed how many kids are cheating, I couldn't get past that for the rest of your presentation. And it almost had a negative connotation to me about, okay, you're doing this thing. I might think about it as you evolve your concept and how you describe it to investors and other types as, one of the things we have is a massive shortage of people that have technical skills in this country. And another way to think about the pitch is, by doing this, you're going to increase the supply of programmers and technical people because too many of them take that first class and have a bad experience and then leave and go into something else. And so there's a positive spin I think you can make on this that would say, hey, we know we have this giant shortage of these people. This can help those students get to be successful, enhance their education, enhance their ability to get a better job and meet the needs of the U.S. workforce or the world workforce on technical skills. So just think a little bit about that. I get that what the problem is in this, but I sometimes think when you start talking to older people that have, and this is my personal opinion, and investors, we're going to get caught up on why don't these kids just stop cheating and just do the homework? And that's, all of us just did freaking homework for real, right? But if you think about it and maybe put a positive spin on it and say we're trying to solve the workforce, this will help solve and help kids get past that initial barrier to give them, and then they can have success, and then they can go and finish the program that they're doing. That's more of a positive spin versus we're going to stop kids from cheating. This might be sense.
Well, I was going to say also kind of actually going off what he's saying, I think you can also, the other area I think you touched a little bit on is the shortage of actually like help, because I think that's the other, is like if you're saying TAs are just, nobody has time at the TAs, so what you're doing is you're also filling that gap and saying, hey, not only, we need to fill in long-term to understand this, and so what you're I think what you're doing is a twofold. Every time somebody goes through your program, maybe they'll get it and then they'll become a tutor. So I think you're actually also it's going to grow the people that understand the concepts, who at the short term can help more people understand the concepts, but then also, like he's saying, long term. So I think there's those two shortages that you're filling that I think, you should definitely highlight heavier.
It's got more of a personal question maybe, but it seems like a good industry because like my grandkids are just plugged into devices all the time. So learning is going to go that way. So you're going to make it easy for these kids that are just tied to they're plugged into the internet literally. Well, virtually, I guess, right now, but maybe soon literally. So, I'm sure you're not sure where you're going with this long term, but it's going to be a growing industry. Maybe you'll merge with somebody or some other learning company will buy you out or you'll lead that company. But I guess that kind of leads to my question. Personally, your degree is biomechanical engineering, biomedical engineering. You seem to be a good entrepreneur, you got the spirit. This seems kind of off track for going into education. Is that what you really want to do long term, is build an education company?
Long-term educational company, but at the same time, while I'm building the company, work on potentially making medical devices and in cancer and cardiovascular systems.
So you're gonna get more, somehow get back into the technology with this. So you're gonna be leading an IT company, not really education.
Yeah, like potentially making this into a nonprofit or something like that, and having someone else run it while I'm doing technology-based things.
To kind of follow up on this train of thought, there's a bunch of pitfalls that are unanticipated in building such a company. And I don't know fully how the process works in Founders Club, but have you been exposed to past stories of, other companies in education tech, like Cluster Flunk was one of those? Have you by any chance had an opportunity to have a conversation with some of those past founders?
Not really.
Then I would suggest, because we're a very nice guy that are willing to give the time to someone else that's going through the same process. I think at some point they raised over 100K, but I remember talking to the co-founders post that, and after they had offices in Chicago, and the biggest thing was getting the professors to buy onto the system and allow it into their classes, or allow it into their different institutions, or at some point getting enough content for the people on the site to fill into the users, right, to come back to the platform. So I think a big resource is right there on Passive Founders Club. Just kind of talk to other people that have worked in the education tech space and figure out what you're going to have to encounter in the future that you might not be anticipating right now, especially considering you'll be doing the biomedical thing, which no doubt will take up a lot of your time as well, right? Any last questions? Right? Well, if there's no last questions, what can we as a community, the One Cups community, do to help push you forward and help realize the dream of College Academy? What resources can we get from that? What do you need?
If anyone knows any people who might be interested in joining a company like this, I'm always looking for interns, as right now I'm running it by myself, so I just spread my time around everything. School, this, work.
So programmers specifically?
Yeah, one person max to run the web, help me with the website, everything set up, and then interns who want to help me do the marketing or even helping me find the tutors.
Joe, you do web design, right?
Yeah.
Can you help him?
I can pop something together. I'm open to it.
And Steve, your marketing intern, how's she working out?
We broke off during the holidays and haven't reconnected yet.
Does she have capacity to help?
I can't answer for her, but yeah, we haven't started back up for this semester.
We'll find you some people.
You know what? We've got socials too, now that I think about it. Is it far-fetched for us to kind of shout out exactly what one of our 1 Million Cups presenters may need from our community?
That's a great idea.
Right? On some of those socials, Liz? Is
Where's Liz?
somewhere around, but she'll answer to that, right? Steve College Academy, a big round of applause.